Hi, welcome to the second edition of the Houck Report. I want to talk today about violence in the inner city and stop and frisk. But first, I want to let you know what I did. I did a quick internet search on stray bullet shootings in New York City for 2012. And this is what I come up with. In September, a 15-year-old girl was shot doing her homework in the Queensbridge houses in Queens. November, 5-year-old on Hughes Avenue in the Bronx. Thugs were shooting at other rivals and this 5-year-old was shot. July, a 4-year-old killed in the Bronx. Forest houses playing in the park while propped by perps shooting it out. July, a drive-by shooting in Brownsville. A 2-year-old and a 13-year-old shot. And August 10th, a 10-year-old shot in the Bronx near Yankee Stadium. These are our children that are being shot on the streets in New York, all right, and this is happening far too often. Now, I want to focus on these two beautiful young girls here. The first one you left on the screen is Taylana Mazak. She was shot in June of 2013. She was paralyzed by a stray bullet, okay, from thugs shooting it out. And all she was doing was just standing in front of her home. The next girl, Deja Robinson, May of 2013. This poor girl, age 14, was shot and killed by a thug who was shooting into a bus. Now, you know, where was the outrage when these shootings occurred? Innocent children just playing on the street or walking with their parents. Look at these two beautiful little girls. This poor little girl here is probably going to be paralyzed for the rest of her life. Okay? And Deja Robinson, she's dead. She's never going to have a life, all right, because of thugs on the street. All right? Where's the outrage over this? I am so outraged at all these children being shot. All right? These are good people. The good people in these neighborhoods should be begging for stop and frisk. All right? Their children are being shot. All right? Where's the governor? Okay? All these children are minorities. Why don't the liberals care about their lives? These neighborhoods are all run by liberal politicians. All right? Where is the real outrage over the violence? I'm not seeing it. This is happening all over the country in major cities and nothing's being done to address it. And not once have I heard any politicians talking about minimum mandatory sentencing for those using guns in the commission of a crime. Just useless rhetoric which deflects the truth and accomplishes nothing. You know, the answer to the gun problem is stop and frisk and minimum mandatory sentencing and good policing. Of course, politicians don't want good policing because of the fact that minorities are the ones doing the shooting overwhelmingly, and they believe it's not politically expedient to address the issue. We have to address this issue. If stop and frisk is reduced, more of our children will die playing in the parks of our city. Just because you live in a nice neighborhood, I don't want you to think that you're safe either, because it's definitely going to spill over. I don't care what neighborhood you live in, white, black, Hispanic, whatever. All right? If stop and frisk is significantly reduced, you're going to start seeing this violence in your part of your neighborhood. So just think of your children in the parks every day playing and maybe getting struck with a bullet. Listen, as a retired NYPD detective, I lived and I saw this violence every day. I remember I asked an 11-year-old what he wanted to do when he grew up, and he told me he wanted to kill a cop. We had arrested him for some petty theft or something like that. That's got to end. And the same 11-year-old, several years later, we arrested for a murder and now doing 25 to life. The only way we're going to stop the culture of violence in the inner cities is to make a real concerted effort to do so. Quit deflecting the issue. We know what the problem is. So I call on rappers, record producers who made millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars on gangster rap, all right, to come up with tunes that shame those who use weapons to settle an argument. Make the kids think that you're a punk if you use a weapon. Let's create a different culture, all right? Let's let them come back to the days of fist fighting again, okay? I'll take that any day over the shooting and stabbing that's going on. Furthermore, we need to convey a message that bullying is only for punks and how anyone can prey on the weak. Now I know the rap producers and the rappers out there, 50 Cent and all you guys, I know you can do this. You know, you're all grown up now. You know you've learned from your mistakes if you made any when you were younger. All right? So why don't you use your talent now to come out and make songs like this to reduce the violence? All right? You never see politicians and alleged leaders who represent these neighborhoods come forward to stop the violence. All they do is talk and throw the race card around as the reason for the inner city problems. People in the inner cities need to start taking a close look at those they elected to represent them. It appears that politicians that you elected conned and bamboozled you into thinking that they were your best friends. But if you sit, read, and take a long, hard look, they're never really there for you. Just themselves. Let's tackle this issue. Let's end the violence.